Call this regular meeting of council to order for Monday, March 7th, 2016. And the first thing, we need approval of the agenda. Councilor Mackay.
So moved.
Seconder? Okay. Any discussion on, or just,
Thank you, Your Worship. Just to let you know, item 5.3, the Lions Campground, they're unable to make it today. They're rescheduled for March 31st, so they'll be coming in at a later date.
okay.
Thank you, Worship. Just another thing on that too is question and answer period is actually after our closed. Will that be moved forward or?
Is
On page 5.
that the way we want it? So we'll take question and answer period will be number 10 and close will be number 11. Okay, any other discussion on the agenda? All in favor? Any adoption of the minutes for February 15th, 2016, regular council meeting? Scott?
The council adopt minutes of February 15th, 2016, regular council meeting as presented.
Second haircut? Okay. All in favor? And for February 18th, 2016, special council meeting. Councilor Casey.
Thank you, Your Worship. Would recommend that council adopt the minutes of the February 18, 2016 special council meeting as presented.
Seconder? Councilor Kirby? All in favor? And for February 23rd, special council meeting. Councilor Kirby?
Recommendation that council adopt the minutes of the February 23rd, 2016 special council meeting as presented.
Councilor Hawk? All in favor? Any business arising from those minutes? Seeing none, we'll move to council meeting summary sheet, page 19. Wall, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship, and through the council. I'll just go through the items here that are in progress. The Tunbridge Museum Foundation lease negotiations. It looks like the museum is now just looking for an extension of their lease, not the other items, so we'll be moving on that quickly and be bringing it back to council. I'll be getting in touch with them soon to find out when their application grant deadline is, and we'll get that in front of council. We do need to have a small closed portion to discuss some of the changes to the lease, but that won't be taking too much longer. There'll be a closed section on this next week for us to take a look at. On the council portfolios or committees, we were looking at talking about that at the next PMP. We can certainly have that discussion, but it might be advantageous to just wait to see what comes out of the budget and what gets approved there, because the committees will be based around what the budget is. So I'd suggest we just wait a little bit to have that discussion. Asset Management Steering Committee, that will be on next week's PNP. This is storage for the minor hockey ticket booth. That will be brought to you before the 31st, so all the decisions on the community center can be made at that time. And we also have the recycling issues that we're aware of, and we'll be bringing a council report on those things as well before the decisions are made on the 31st.
Anybody else have anything concerned?
Well, just with the councillor correspondence, is that just going to be in a binder or something around that we can have a look at? Mr. Wall.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yep, it's in a binder. It's in the corporate officer's office, so if you want to stop in and take a look at it, you're welcome.
Thank you.
All good with that? We'll move on. Petitions, delegations. First is Tree and Chase from Dawson Creek. Dawson Creek right across the club, talking about a peace rally. Welcome to the table.
Thank you. Thank you, Council, for seeing us today as well as your worship. We came from Dawson Creek. We just had delegations with Dawson Creek Council today as well concerning the peace rally. What it is, just first and foremost, it's not a race. What it is an automotive event with a specified bracket in your class of vehicle. And our idea was to bring a rally event to the South Peace region, to possibly tie in Dawson Creek, Tumbler Ridge, and Chetwynd, to have an automotive event that could tie in with Summer Cruise and could be an annual event. So we'd like to introduce the Peace Rally to you. So on the slides here, we started off 5 years ago. It's just a small autocross club in parking lot of the Encana Center. So we have 5 years underneath our belt for running an automotive club. No safety issues, so we have the experience to pull an event like this, and we're looking to have closure of specific roads to do an event once a year in the Peace region. So with that said, Targa Newfoundland, if no one's aware, they run a rally that's been going on for about 12 years now. They shut the whole island down for about 5 days, and they have sections that are closed off, and throughout the city, vehicles are going through those, and we'd like to follow the same path and highlight the Peace region while doing that.
And up on the slide, we just kind of threw it out there as a teaser to social media, to interested groups or all around Vancouver and Alberta. We've got pretty excited.
Yeah, we've got a big crowd that's following us right now.
Yeah, there we go.
This is the next level event where it will draw in crowds from international, possibly from the United States, and at the same time highlight the Peace region of what we have to offer while tying in this automotive event. So safety is our number one concern. It always has been. Any automotive rally is going to have safety, and we have a detailed document plan, and it's on our website. We won't go into details of it. It is available in the link. So that is of utmost importance. So just so everyone is aware, it is an automotive event. So safety is always going to be an issue, and that's what we always look at first. And
we've been able to pull a lot of expertise from the Targa Rally, from a lot of the similar events down in Kelowna and Knox Valley. So we're able to pull a lot of their safety programs from that they have already they've been running for 5-10 years. So we have a lot of expertise and knowledge behind our safety program that we're going to implement.
With that being said, for safety, what we're looking for, we're not looking for financial support. We're just looking for the districts to support us with any type of volunteers, with possibly a letter of recommendation. So that way, if we go to Public Works or to Ministry of Transportation for shutdown of a specific area of road, that's what we'd like to ask of council. So in that for safety, we have outlined some possible routes that we have been looking at. Keep in mind the routes that you're looking at, per se, some are 10 kilometers, some are 100 kilometers, so say between Dawson Creek and Tumbler Ridge. We're not shutting down that whole section for that whole allotted day. It's just going to be parts of that road that will be shut down, like say a 5-kilometer stretch for possibly an hour or two. And that's what, when you're looking at the maps, you're looking at, so what we're doing is we're tying in a rally around the Peace region, so the South Peace region, Tumbler Ridge, Dawson Creek, and Chetwynd.
So for instance, we have the Tumbler Ridge, the section from Tumbler Ridge from Dawson Creek, to Tumbler Ridge, and then Tumbler Ridge to Chetwynd. It's a huge section. Like Tree said, we just cordoned off, and that will help us to alleviate any traffic that would build up from tourism, from industry around the Peace. So that'll be one section of our safety initiative to keep traffic flowing, just to slow down whatever events we're having and just kind of like take a cool down period. So it'll help with the safety aspect for sure.
So what this is really for us is it's an awareness. It's just we wanted to present it to the councils of the 3 cities, just to make it aware. Excuse me, that we are in works of doing this. We have insurance in place. This is not a race, and we're not asking for financial support. And what it is we were just looking for the support from the council, a letter of recommendation, so we can go ahead and move to the next stage of asking for road closure. We are planning this in late July after Summer Cruise, the big event in Dawson Creek, the 2-day event for the Automotive Classics. So we're going to tie in with that event possibly, and we'd like to highlight this event as a 1-year annual event, especially with the Alaska Highway being the 75th anniversary for next year. We'd like to do one this year to build up for the bigger one next year. And highlighting the Peace region, for us, we can see the windmills, we see the Kiskatna Bridge, anything like that. We'd love to have that in a poster to bring tourism to our areas, especially in the economy, being in the low that it is. And we only have Chetwynd to see now as well. So all of our work is being supported by the Dawson Creek Chamber of Commerce, and as well a recommendation from Dawson Creek Tourism as well with volunteers. So we have a lot of this in place, and I think we can leave it at that. If you guys have any questions, we'd love to hear from you guys, and we'd like to answer those.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your presentation. Does anybody have a, Councilor Pat?
The race, I understand speed's not involved. It's you've got a time that you've already allotted should be the proper time.
Yeah. So
Is that how you win the race? You come as close as you can to that time?
exactly.
Exactly.
Is there stopovers along the way? Something similar to, say, a little bit different, the Iditarod or the Yukon Quest, where they actually stop at a spot and they got to remain there for so many hours?
Yeah, and that would be the stage that we would set out. So say from Dawson to Tumbler Ridge, there would be 6 stages from that set. So each stage would have a set time that you must match. So and that's one of the safety aspects. So there'd be a max top speed for each class, and there would be an average speed for each class. So you can't go above that average speed, or you'll be way below your time. And you're trying to match that time. You're not trying to. It's not a race to see who's the fastest. It's to see who's the close. Can just get as close to that time as possible. So.
And with the stopovers, that would be able to highlight the economic portion of it, where bring business into the communities. So the stopovers are very important. So we'd have to delegate places in the city, like in Canada Centre is delegated as the meet and greet place as in one of the major stopovers in Dawson. So with help from council finding out Tumbler Ridge, what would be some good designated stopovers here as well, because we like to make it a 2-day event if possible.
Okay, just one last question.
Sure.
What is it you have in mind for Tumbler Ridge in the way of a stopover?
Well, stopovers, the Geopark was highlighted as one of the stops, and anywhere along the windmills. If councillors have a general idea of better places for a stopover, we're all ears.
Or even like a car show of sorts in the city. Like we're hoping at minimum 40 to 60 cars. So that would be a pretty good stopover for the town, for the residents. So.
Hey, thank you very much.
Councilor Hall?
So maybe just so I understand it a little more clear, you're gonna have 6 stopovers somewhere between Dawson and Tumbler Ridge. So you stop over, the guys would meet there, pull off the road. Would all 40 or 60 racers then pull off the road at that point and then start an hour later and go again? That section of road that they're racing on, is that the section of road that would be shut off to the public at that time?
Yeah, they call it leapfrogging, like in Target. What happens is, so one section is allotted, everyone does their run, then they'd skip to the next section. So it's only section per section that is being shut off. And with these runs, if we had any other community projects on the go, like say if we did a green class where there was 0 emissions vehicles, or a bicycle rally to start the event off. So we're trying to tie in a couple different events at the same time to lead off with a rally as well. So we could tie in a lot of different initiatives.
So would the highway be shut down for both ways of traffic for everyone? Or-
It could be, it'll depend on the route, it could be just a section of it shut off, it may not have to be 100% where both ways of traffic, maybe just the one way of traffic. So that'll depend on logistics of where we're gonna be, what areas are designated, the ones that are selected or council is okay with.
Just to add a little bit to there for you guys, just so you know, we have a large windmill project on the go in between Chapman and Tumbler Ridge over the summer months. And I think Sunday is probably gonna be the only day that they're not gonna be hauling to the site, but they will be hauling from the Port Authority to where we are. So it's just something that to keep in mind, that if you're planning on doing this over a weekend, that's an industry that you're gonna have to shut down for a specific amount of time. It'd be a tough sell for them to shut down during that period, right?
Yeah, and that's absolutely correct. We have that stumbling block. It's to do with the highways. So everything's going to be about timing. So if we did like, say Dawson Creek Chetwynd on Saturday, if the windmill's coming through, they're doing a lot of work for the Saturday here, then we'll do the Sunday on in this portion. So that's still going to be seen. We're going to look at logistics of which companies are moving what at certain times.
And even if that company wants to really tie in with community, this is going to be a community event. So if they want to be a part of the community and the events that are held in the community, it might be a good opportunity for them to get into it. So
Yeah, I mean, I can see where you're coming from,
Yeah.
that it's a good community event, but we're talking $400 million
Oh, yeah.
project to
Yep.
stop for 4 days, and I don't think they're gonna do it. The logistics of these trucks stopping on the side of the highway are $10,000 an hour for the crew that's moving the equipment, right? So it's just to give you the heads up on what we're looking at, and that's really the only industry we have going on
Yeah.
in Tumbler Ridge right now, so.
So
We're not
we
interested in slowing them down.
Yeah, no, we definitely would avoid anything like that. So yeah, once we get into more detail, then we have to sit down with the appropriate people on what days or what time is not good.
And how long would you anticipate that a highway would be shut down for?
They say in targets, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours.
For the entire highway section that would be
That's
cleared at
that's
that time?
correct.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just have one question for you. So once you shut down a part of that highway, say an emergency vehicle has to get through, do you have a way of holding up those cars?
yeah, so we'll have radio communication all throughout the stages. So
But you'll have radio communication with the cars?
well, yeah, so we'll have radio communication and then you'll have flaggers all throughout the stages. So then you can flag a vehicle down if that happens.
Councillor Casey?
Thank you, Richard. Just a quick, what kind of vehicles are we talking about?
It could be anything. Could be a zero emissions vehicle. It could be a classic. It could be a full-on race car. If there is stipulations of what type of vehicle, so they are broken up into 4 different classes. So you could bring your own vehicle as long as it's not a 4x4 pickup or a go-kart. Something that falls within like a full-on competition class vehicle will have a roll cage and will have all the safety gear. Whereas opposed to an exhibition class vehicle could just be a vehicle that's bought off the lot.
Okay, so, and it's a matter of having a race on paved roads,
That's correct.
correct? Okay.
It could extend to a full rally like anywhere else in the world on gravel, be it snow, if we are developed long enough
Sure.
and it's successful. So that's possibly something we're.
The only reason I brought that up is that we've got I'm just thinking in terms of the old highway, or not highway, but the old road that we used to take to come into Tumbler Ridge. There's a number of branches to that which crisscross the highway itself. So that's why I asked whether or not that would be incorporate those particular roads into the overall competition, and therefore relieving some of the delays that the truckers may have or whatever. That's the only reason I brought it up. So,
That's right.
okay, fair enough. Thank you.
Well, my only concern is that you'll have a class for smart car. Yeah, I know there's lots of pull-offs along the way up, and I'm sure that it could be worked into that.
Yeah, we'll definitely do our best to make an event like that happen. I think it'll be good for the whole Peace region, and we're going to tie in the South Peace region at first. Our initial plan was to do North End Peace, North region and the South region, so Fort St. John, Hudson Hope as well. But I think if we just work with the South Peace region this year, have that successful, then we can go ahead with the other districts as well. So.
A lot of business in town would appreciate the
We're hoping to.
Okay, well, Councilor Craig.
Just one last, again, depending on the town's buy-in to something like this, would that make the amount of time that you've allotted to stay in Tumbler Ridge, could that vary? Depending on the buy-in from the town?
You know what, like, we weren't looking for anything financially, but, you know, down the road, we're gonna need to have funding. But I mean, at the same time, we have a lot of support that is already in place, volunteers. We have a network of equipment, so things are already in place to make it happen because we have previous automotive experience to hold events. But the more, the better. So if the city wants to tie in, we'll definitely do as much as possible to make, coordinate it with the town if, say, there was more of a financial from.
Okay, yeah, and that's not, actually what I was kind of referring to, is like the downtown core here, if we were to set some kind of a festive type atmosphere for this, I mean, is that,
Like right now, we'd only allotted 1 day for the Ridge route, but
Yeah.
this is all still in planning stages, so things can change. When we can surely make on the Ridge a bigger stop, like a 5-hour stop or something along those lines.
hey, thanks.
Our Chamber of Commerce actually runs our visitor information center, so they'd be the people to do this.
Okay, perfect. Dawson Weaver, he's of the Dawson Creek Tourism, and Kathleen Conley of Chamber of Commerce in Dawson to have them contact him. Because they're helping us 100%, so once we kind of get the delegations out of the way and the awareness, then we'll move to the next stage. We'll do more planning from
Well, thank you for your presentation,
there. Thank you
it's
much,
interesting.
Worship and Council. Thank you.
Next one, 5.2, is a municipal pond proposal. Welcome. Not sure who's with you, but you can introduce.
I shall. My name is Mark Deely, for those who don't, everyone knows who I am, local high school teacher. This is one of my students, Carissa Bowerman, and another of my students, Connor Watson, who came to support the proposal. Today we're asking the council to look into the idea of stocking the pond across from the high school. The reason for this is, for the last 2 years, we've run a very successful fish farm. Oh, sorry. Yeah. We're coming to ask the council to consider stocking the pond across from the high school. The reason for this is we've run a very successful fish farm program with students over at the high school for the last 2 years. Currently, we're using goldfish, and the other reason we're using goldfish is because we don't have a place to put indigenous fish, such as rainbow trout or Arctic grayling. The other reason is, of course, logistics and legislation dealing with the province. If we could possibly stock the pond across from the high school with rainbow trout, the students could then take on more stewardship for the environment, which would add a whole new phase and factor to the actual program. Add to this, though, we feel that the pond would be a big benefit to local youth. We would like to see it as a fishing spot for kids under 16, restricted to only those people under 16, and potentially a meeting area for families. Of course, the school does not have the. I don't speak for the school. I'm speaking as a private citizen. We don't have the resources to develop this pond in this way. However, I can say that if the town did decide to develop it, I as the teacher in charge of the fish farm would move towards using rainbow trout so that we could stock that pond. The only issues that I'm aware of for the pond would be, where is the water source? Where is the water outlet? We'd have to know where that's coming from and where it's going. Aeration for the pond, and just the general volume of the pond, which could be calculated easily. Myself and my dive partner, I scuba dive, and we could go in and do a quick calculation of it and figure out how many fish we could put in it. Not to talk on for too long, but for those of you who don't know, I'm a registered biologist in the province of BC. I worked for many years as a fish health biologist in the aquaculture industry, which we raised 3 to 4 million fish a year, 3 to 4 million Atlantic salmon in Powell River. I'm published in Aquaculture Journal. I have a strong background in it, and if I don't have the background, I have the contacts to make it happen. However, I do not have the contacts in terms of legislation or, of course, the permission to do such a thing, to just start throwing fish into a pond. So this is why I've come before council today.
Thank you. Do you have any questions? Okay.
Is there any concern over the nitrate levels or the pH levels of that pond? It's,
No, again, that would be something we'd have to go in and check. Luckily, though, with the fish farm the way it is at the school, we have the ability to go in and check it very quickly. We could go in and just do what we do in the farm with the kids. But I would suggest that we need to do a little bit more than just nitrates, phosphates, and that. We need to do a proper water sample and send it off and have it go. However, fish are very tolerant of a high range or a very broad range of these factors. So I don't think it would be much trouble. The only thing you really want to worry about is the nitrates or the pH, and the O2 levels. But O2 can be taken care of with simple aeration. So no, we don't have the numbers on that, but that's something the town council would investigate, and I would be more than happy to donate my time to do that.
it is, the water is fed from groundwater, from runoff.
Yes, that's what I was told.
That's it, and the drainage is right through, filters through the bottom and goes who knows where. But,
That's the main concern, of course, is putting fish into any water body. You have to worry about where it's going. Is it going into a waterway that then feeds into indigenous populations? So, because you have to worry about things like bacteria and cross-contamination and biosecurity. If the water was draining into, say, for instance, our water treatment, it wouldn't be an issue at all. However, if it drains into something like flatbed, we'd have to take a look at what are the chances, and we'd have to get probably provincial permission to stock the pond. However, this is out of my scope of jurisdiction, which is why I've come to council. I think it's a doable thing, but it's something that would take a little bit of investigation and a little bit of work between myself and people on council to go in and get the information. Where is the water going? What is the potential risk to native populations? What is the stocking density we could put in there? I mean, even if we put in 50 fish, that's 50 fish that kids could go catch on their own. I'm not suggesting we put in 3,000 fish, but we could look anywhere between 50 fish to 300 fish, depending on what stocking density we want to go with. And of course, you'd have to look at things like the amount of food provided, the natural food provided in the pond. Is there any natural food there? And if there's not, is someone going to go out and just throw, some feed in there every now and then? And how does that affect the nitrate levels, the phosphate levels, and so forth? The nice thing, though, not to ramble on, but the nice thing is this has been done in several other towns, including in Alberta. There's a couple of towns that have done this as a municipal thing for the local kids. It brings in tourism, of course, and with the pond being very close to the visitor center, I can imagine families pulling in and saying, what's to do in Tumbler Ridge, and the people at visitor center saying, well, 50 yards over there, you can throw a line in. You don't have to go, you don't need a 4x4 truck to go here. You don't have to drive 50 kilometers to William Lake, get out of your truck, walk over there with a fishing line, and your kid can go catch a fish. I think that's a big plus to Tumbler Ridge, and for all of the cost of just investigating, whether we can keep fish in there or not, I think it'd be worth a shot.
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic location. It's just the pond itself that I'm kind of curious about. It freezes solid, for one, right? And so
Absolutely.
those are the type of things. And if this wasn't, have you got in mind another area, like say Quality Lake, where you could do something substantial?
Quality Lake, but they already stock that with fish that come up from Kamloops. However, it's funny you mentioned Quality Lake. Quality Lake has the benefit of being frozen over, and it has a fish kill every year, and that's a benefit simply because being the guy who would support the school that would support by donating fish or by stocking fish, that gives us a goal each year, as opposed to having a resident population that my students don't have to keep stocking. If there is a fish kill because it freezes over, that's all right. We can actually keep stocking the fish, new fish each year. The bodies, of course, would just go into the nitrogen into the system and feed the local flora and fauna. I'd also, and I could be absolutely crazy, but I believe Councillor Howe was talking about an outdoor rink at one time. And if we develop this area as a fish pond, if it does freeze over perfectly, I'm just wondering, I don't know much about rinks and that sort of thing, but I was thinking maybe we could use it as a rink if we've already got the area developed with trails and picnic tables for kids. Fishing in the summer, skating in the winter, it might be a nice added bonus to it. But the danger to the fish, there really isn't any. If there's a fish kill, there's a fish kill, it happens naturally. If there's not, we have a few left over for the next year, and we're off and running even earlier than when we can stop the fish in the pond. So the shallowness or the freezing really isn't an issue. I don't think. I think it's a benefit to have it. So, for instance, if we had, we'd have to test the fish for disease and that sort of thing. But let's say, for instance, something got by and there was a disease. If that pond freezes over and all those fish die, you've got a clean slate come spring, which is a big benefit than sending somebody in trying to take out all those fish. So it might actually be a huge benefit for us if there is a freeze.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Dooley. Appreciate that.
Yes, Councillor Hall.
So maybe just a couple of quick questions, just so we have some information to give back to staff. So the asks that you're asking of the district is to help you along with the province for the investigation to see if we're able to do this?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And then is there any financial ask at this point? Like, do you have an idea of what an aerator costs? Or?
No idea, because I don't know what it would need, in all honesty. All I can offer the council and the town is my expertise and my time. I am not an expert in, say, setting up an aquaculture industry or a stocked pond. I'm a biologist. I can keep it going once it's going. I have contacts who would be more than happy to give us advice on it, but as far as what it's going to cost the town, I could only guess. I'm just bringing the idea to the council, and I would never suggest that I have the background to even go towards the business end of things.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, I think it's a very exciting idea. I think it's something that, if it worked out, could be really beneficial for the
I think it would be wonderful.
I know the farmer stock dugouts, so
Yeah.
it's not nothing new, I guess.
Yeah.
Where the water does go, I don't know. We can find that out, that's for sure.
I have to say, I would like to say that I'm coming at it from a selfish point of view. This is coming from the fish farm at the high school, and my focus is always going to be on the education of my students first and foremost. But to educate my students, I need a hook. I have students who might not come to school every day, but when they started with the fish farm, they start coming to school every day. However, raising goldfish is only a hook for so long. But saying to a student, you can raise rainbow trout right here, and you could catch that rainbow trout in your town 2 years later, 3 years later, that's a big hook. And kids buying into the environment, in the time and the climates that we're living in right now, is a massive, massive hook. And it's a positive hook for kids to take stewardship of our environment. It hits everything that we're trying to do at the school and in this province in terms of education 100%. It is what we call problem-based learning, where students are taking on a big project and solving the problems themselves. They're taking responsibility for their immediate surroundings. They are taking ownership of what they think is important, and they're taking ownership of their own town. From an education point of view, you couldn't ask for a better project, but I have to have an outlet for these fish to go somewhere. Carissa could speak to it. The goldfish is fun, but when I take all the goldfish back, Carissa was almost in tears because those were her goldfish. Carissa is one of my top students in that class, and she has taken ownership of that entire system like you would not believe. However, for her, I don't think I speak out of turn when I say, if I could say to her, we're going to release these rainbow trout across the road, and these are our rainbow trout that the town and the little kids are going to be catching, it would be an amazing experience for everyone involved. I truly believe that. So.
You get these young people learning how to fish in that pond.
Absolutely.
It's just a hook to get them
Absolutely.
other places, so it's
Absolutely.
definitely a good way to. Well, thank you very much for your presentation, and we'll let staff have a look at this and bring us back a report on what the cost should be and what that pond drains.
That would be great. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll keep you up to date on what's going on.
I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
It's just a correspondence. 6.1, community room. Discussion or information? Joe,
For discussion, your worship, for me.
second of that?
Thank you, your worship. New on council, but I believe the community did it before. So I don't know, I think it's something that's, I know we have a lady that works for the town now, doing an amazing job, so I'm not sure what's needed from our side. Besides the application part.
Thank you, Your Worship. As it says in this application, there would need to be a committee. We would need to do fundraising projects, awareness projects, parades, tidy up days. It's a big project. It's something we can do, but it would be something I'd ask council to move one of your other strategic priorities off, so we'd have
I think, I know that Community of Bloom before, I think was run by the Garden Club, and I think they have to be part of it if it's, has any chance of making it. Because it's a lot of work. I don't know if you want to get in touch.
Maybe we're getting in touch.
You can send some, this information to the Garden Club and see where they stand on something like that.
But I would imagine they're aware of this program if they've done it before. If they wanted to get involved in it, I would think they got involved in it. But we can certainly ask them if they want to take this project over.
We just send them a letter with this information we've got. And what do they do? They'll probably get back to us. Give us their plans. Okay. 6.2, Strategic Wildfire Prevention Initiative, 2016 Fire Smart Grant Approval. Consultation.
Thank you, Worship. I move for information.
Seconder? Councilor Kai, all in favor? 2016 Asset Management Planning Program. Councilor Casey,
I move for information, Your Worship.
seconder? Okay. All in favor? That takes us to bylaws. The off-road bylaw number 563, 2016, for the final reading. Councilor Kirby.
Thank you, Your Worship. Recommendation that council approve final adoption of the District of Tumble Ridge off-road vehicle bylaw number 563, 2016.
Seconder for that. Councilor Kai. Any discussion? Well, I gotta say, it's a long overdue, and I'm glad to see it finally here, as Tim can probably agree with. Glad to see it done. Okay, all in favor? Two municipal ticket information amendment bylaw number 617, 2016. Councilor Kirby.
Recommendation that council approve final adoption of the District of Tumble Ridge municipal ticket information amendment bylaw number 617, 2016.
Councilor discussion? All in favor? Takes us to new business. First, 8.1, Screaming Eagle Ventures Limited, application for a permanent change to the liquor license. We have two recommendations there. Councilor Casey.
Thank you, Worship. I don't know if you wanted to read it out, but I would certainly put on the floor recommendation number 1.
Yeah.
I can read that out if you wish, or just go on the basis of what is presented here.
Actually, with the two, I guess maybe we should have a red out.
Okay, I would recommend that the report from the corporate office regarding Screaming Eagle Ventures application for a permanent change to liquor license be received. Further, that the application from Wendy Truitt of Screaming Eagle Ventures Limited for a permanent change to the hours of liquor sales for the Tumble Ridge Golf and Country Club, 103 Golf Course Road, be recommended for approval. Further, that the required criteria has been considered and is summarized with this report. Further, that the views of the residents were requested by posting a notice in the local newspaper on district website and at the District's 3 notice boards, with 1 comment being received.
Second for that. Right. Discussion on. Councilor McKay.
This require a separate area being made, like to have a distinct area between someone who wishes to go just eat with children and an area that's fully licensed. There had to be a petition or somewhere. Any thought to that?
I don't think there has to be any change, it's just an extension of time.
Mr. Trent?
Mr. Ball, is it?
That's correct.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Councilor Kirby?
Thank you, Your Worship. I think just with the events that the golf course puts on, they have several weddings planned for this summer, and I think each time you get a special occasion license, that's $350. And to change the hours for the season is $350. So I can see where they're kind of going with that. And I don't think it was Screaming Eagles, I think, idea to solely go to that every night, but it does allow them on like the Thursday, Friday, Saturdays when they're hosting special events. That's the way I took this. I didn't have a chance to talk to the one person who sent in a letter that was, against this, but I did get a chance to talk to Lenny, and that's what she had filled me in on that.
My view on this is, and I did talk to the gentleman that brought in that letter. Just the conditions in town. We've got three places that serve alcohol after 12 o'clock, I guess. And it really stretches the patrons adding one more. And that's the reason for that letter, to be against it. And I'm not sure, that the golf course, you're going to draw anybody from, say, the inn over here. Usually it's the people that's at the golf course who stay there. I'm not sure, but that was the reason for the letter against it, was that the economic situation at Tumbler Ridge right now, that it's just made things a little tougher on the boards that are.
Call a question on the motion, Your Worship.
Anybody else? All in favor? The 8.2, travel approval for a fourth convention. Get the recommendation.
Recommendation that council authorizes travel expenses for the approximate amount of $920 for May person's attendance to the Kofi Annual Convention in Kelowna, BC on April 6th to 8th, 2016, and the council authorizes travel expenses for the approximate amount of $1,850 for any councillors interested in attending the Kofi Annual Convention in Kelowna, BC on April 6th to the 8th, 2016.
Second for that. Councilor McKay. Discussion on that. Councilor Cage.
Thank you, Worship. I just wonder why the difference.
Because they supply one room for,
So if 6 other councillors, members of council, wanted to go, they would receive $300 and some versus the $920. Is that, am I reading that correctly or not?
no, the 1850 is the cost of the room over top of the 920. Councillors wanted to go, they'd have to get a room. Yeah, we'd have to get a room.
Thank you.
That's right, Mr. So, we're skirting around the forestry stuff right now, trying to get more involved in it. I went to Kofi in Prince George last year, and there was a lot of information came up there at the guess if you want to be part of the game, you gotta part of the game. I think it's a good idea. Councilor Scott?
For councillors that would be attending, would that not be the one that falls within that portfolio?
I think that would probably be proper. Which I think is Councilor Guy.
I would like to be considered for this. It is actually the other side of the community forest. It's probably give you a good idea of what the long-term views are. Maybe we've got harvesting planned that maybe doesn't need to be planned right now. Maybe it's better off leaving it for a year or so. I think it's these meetings here that give you the economic outlook that we don't get.
You get to talk to the decision makers of the forestry industry. They're all there. So. Okay, any other discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Okay, 8.3, the ice extension. Extend the time of our ice kept maintained until March 27, 2016. Any recommendation? Okay.
Recommend that District of Tumber Ridge maintain ice at the community center arena until March the 27th, 2016. And council encourages staff an expanded ice available schedule during this time.
Seconder? Oh, any discussion on this? Councilor Kirby?
Thank you, Your Worship. This is the second year that we've been asked to extend the length of the ice at the community center. Last year we offered it free till the end of spring break. It seems to be a pattern. I think I like the idea of leaving the ice in till the end of March, actually from now on. It does give, I mean, our two biggest clubs are figure skating and our hockey. Also gives staff time to, and the hockey organizations to maybe plan some different things over spring break because, maybe families are staying in town more. So I like this idea and I'd like just to see it just move that it remains the ice in till the end of March from now on. That's a suggestion.
Is that an amendment that we can make to this, Mr. Law?
We can just do that through the regular course of action. I'm just concerned about putting a motion in and leave it until the end of March because the reason we chose the date on the 27th is so we can get the ice out before the pool shutdown has to happen. Because if the ice is in when the pool shutdown has to happen, we need to leave the ice until the pool shutdown's down or is finished, and that's a big cost. So we can just take that into our operating considerations for next year's budget.
Councilor Hall?
And just to add to that, this is something that we've been beating around the community here for the last 6 weeks, and it's taken until March 7th to get on the schedule. And it seems to me like it's already known at the rec center that it's going to be staying in later if the vote goes well tonight. They've already got planning in place for more drunken hockeys and stuff already. So it's just something that if it is going to be put into the schedule, and we understand there could be a variance of 3 or 4 days, that's the expectation for next year. It's not expected that we have to put this in next year. If it makes better sense in your schedule, we understand that, but so then everyone has that idea that it'll be until the end of March.
If this is the way we're going, the same way we told everybody the ice will be out on March 14th, that when we put the ice in, we'll tell people from now on we'll be at March 25th, 26th, or 7th, 28th, whatever it is. So we'll make that clear.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Okay, 8.4, efficiency review. Seek funds for an efficiency consultant to review the operations of the district under recommendation. Councilor Hall?
Council pre-approves $40,000 in the 2016 budget for the purpose of hiring a municipal efficiency consultant.
Councilor Kirby? Any discussion on this? Councilor Scott?
Do we have somebody in mind for that position, or is this just going to be going out to a post?
Mr. Wall?
There's nobody in mind, we'll be going to take a look to see who's interested in coming to do it.
And then what is the timeframe for an efficiency review? Do we have that, or would that depend on the performance?
Mr. Wall?
2 months.
2 months. This is something that should be done occasionally anyway, I would think. I mean, we haven't done it for a while, that I can remember. Mr. Wall?
I don't know if one's ever, there might have been one that's been done, if there has, I'm not aware of it. I know it's something that communities are moving towards doing on a periodic basis, but if there has one been done, it's been a while.
My only concern to this is that the individual or company that comes in to do this has carte blanche on the operation. They're allowed to ask whatever questions they want. They're allowed to go in any department, talk to anybody they want, so that they get all the information that they want from the source, rather than secondhand knowledge. That's the only concern I have with the efficiency review. So,
I know we've had groups like this come in and they just walk into wherever they want to go and talk to whoever they want.
Okay.
So I'm sure that's part of it. Okay. All in favor? This is 8.5, the community center staff holiday availability. Is there a recommendation there? Yeah. Do you want to make that recommendation?
I don't know if I wanna make this recommendation though.
You can make whatever you want.
I make a recommendation that the district of Tunbridge Village changes the community center and aquatic center's hours of operation to include staff holiday.
Seconder? Councilor Kirby? Discussion? Okay. Darrell?
Yeah, thank you. I just know it came up to you in regards to the BC Family Day. I mean, it worked out this year. It was nice and warm and everything else. And they had an event planned down to Toboggan Hill and it went really, really well. I think weather definitely helped with that. But I mean, the talk around the community was how Dawson Creek offered up free swimming, skating was open, their climbing wall was open and everything else. So I think it's great to see if we're open on weekends, people have a place to go and do some stuff. I support it. I know there's a cost there with wages and stuff, obviously.
Mental health?
Yeah, I'm not in favor of it. There's certain days in here that I could see make sense to be open. Maybe Canada Day makes sense to be open, but Christmas Day and Boxing Day, generally that's nobody works on those days. It's very, very rare,
Makes sense.
and I don't think that we lump them all together in one group. Maybe it's not in favor for the way that it is here.
Thank you, Worship. I know the discussion around the Tourism Action Committee focused on our community center and what a draw it is, and that there are times when you have the tourists in that, there isn't an option to go through it on the staff holidays, which we do tend to get a lot of visitors in the summer. So I kind of like the alternative to this recommendation, and that was to have the District of Tunbridge open the community center and aquatic center on Canada Day, BC Day, and Labor Day for 2016. I think that would be, with those 3 dates, those are kind of our busy season, we would get a real kind of good idea on the numbers that we get in, because I know we tried it in the past and it didn't, we weren't getting a good turnout. But, I mean, we haven't tried that again for a long time. I don't think trying it would be a bad thing.
Councilor Kai?
I think we got to be aware that the SAT holidays are for everybody. They're also for our district employees. And if we're going to be picking and choosing, then I think we should keep in mind that our own employees deserve those days off too, to be with their families.
Well, I agree with Councilor Howard in the fact that not all staff holidays should be open. I know the one that I think of is Grisfest. You've got a town loaded with people and you've got the rec center closed. It never made a whole bunch of sense to me. And so I would like to see us table this and bring it back to PMP and figure out which dates should be open. Councilor Katie?
Thank you. I would so move, your worship.
Okay, and a second for that? Okay, all in favor? We've just tabled it, so we'll get back once we have our PMP.
You mean defer and not table, right? The table and bring it back to the meeting.
Deferring or table? That works?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
That's okay, Councilor Katie, deferred?
Sure.
Ready? Good? Okay, 8.6, schedule a meeting. Anybody have anything to add? Mr. Wallace, do you have anything? Meetings are all in here now? Any more to add? Hearing nothing? Move on. And that brings us to question and answer period. Oh, huh? Yeah, okay. Council's been, Councilor Casey.
Nothing to report at this time, your worship.
Thank you, Worship. Just gonna make a comment to any councillors that weren't present at the council to council with West Moberly First Nations. If you get a chance to sit down with this group, it was very interesting, and we've set up monthly meetings from now to the first 6 months, and it's a very interesting process. The first time I sat in on it, and I learned a lot on the way First Nations work as, like, in their council. Tonight, or just going back in the motion that we just deferred with the recommendation to the community center stat holidays. Deferring it, I know that's what it went through, but I'd like to bring that back up in my councilor's business to say deferring it just as another, to me, a long process. I would recommend that we go with the alternative recommendation, and that was to have the community center opened Canada Day, BC Family Day, and Labor Day long weekend as a trial.
I don't know what to say to this, because we just passed that motion to defer, so.
I know, and just as in my portfolio, I have the tourism, and I'm bringing it back up as a motion in my own business, councilor's business. Whether I get a seconder, that's one thing. If I don't, then no.
But the idea, I'm sorry, Worship. But the idea here, correct me if I'm wrong, is that during councilor's business, well, this is not the time that we make motions. If you want to put a notice, you want to bring it up for reconsideration and so forth, and so on, at a later date at the next PMP, which I thought we did, did we not? To discuss it at the next PMP, then as far as I'm concerned, the issue should be closed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Wall.
Just to lay out the options that council has in front of them, so anyone who voted in the positive on that motion can bring it back and a vote for reconsideration, and that could be done right now. So I believe Councillor Kirby, did you vote in the positive?
Yes.
Then you could make a motion for reconsideration. If that passed, you could bring it up right now. Now, since it's a motion that has been passed in this meeting, it can be done, but Councillor Casely is also correct that to bring up a motion in councilor's business that's not related to the agenda, you need a unanimous vote of council. But because this has been discussed in this meeting, you do have the option to move for reconsideration, which would be a simple majority vote to reopen it.
Okay. We got the motion. Do you want to remake the motion?
Recommendation that the District of Tumbleridge open a community center and aquatic center on Canada Day, BC Day, and Labor Day for 2016.
Seconder for that?
For reconsideration, and then the first vote is only gonna be on reopening the debate, it won't be on anything else, and then once that debate's reopened, then you can go on to that. Because right now you're reconsidering the motion to table it. So that, the motion you need is that council reconsiders the motion to table the community center set holiday report. Yeah, sorry.
You know that?
Yep.
Okay, second of that. So, discussion. Okay.
So you need to vote right away on the reconsideration, as whether you're gonna talk about it.
Oh, I see, okay. Okay. All in favor of the motion? Opposed? So it's three.
Carried, and it's as if the motion to table didn't happen, so, yeah, you're back in discussion.
Discussion.
I'd like to make a recommendation.
Okay.
That the District of Tumbler Ridge open the community center and aquatic center on Canada Day, BC Day, and Labor Day for 2016.
So,
Yeah, so.
Are you or need a second? Okay. Second.
So just to muddy the waters a little bit more here. So July, I can understand Canada Day because we have a lot of celebrations downtown. I can understand the BC Day, along with Grizz Fest, lots of people downtown. Labor Day, I don't quite understand the logic behind that, and I'm open to your interpretation to why Labor Day it should be open.
Your worship, the fact that we're still having a lot of tourists in town, and that was something that the visitor center and the Chamber of Commerce and the Dinosaur Discovery Gallery had brought up at our action committee, tourist action committee, and thought that could be good potential just to have people visiting our number one place in Tumbler. It's our community center, so that's why those 3 days.
And if we were to do this and have the community center open, I guess this question would be directed towards staff. Is the community center would have to be fully operational at that time, so that means the aquatic center has to be open and everything, or this just be more front desk would be open and maintenance staff in there so people could see the exhibits and stuff in the community center, or that could be determined at that time?
I would, can you give me just 1 second?
Yep.
So, the aquatic center doesn't need to be opened. What we've done on the costing here is the low-end staff, the minimum number of people we need there on a Sunday. So what we've included in the costing on this report is that would have the aquatic center open, because I think that was one of the main draws for looking to bring tourists into the community center, so they can go to the pool. But we actually didn't include the aquatic center opening on that. Was that your intention, Councillor Kirby?
Yes.
Or did we miss that?
That was the intention. It says in the recommendation,
So,
community
okay,
center
then-
and aquatic center.
And we just missed it in recording, so yeah,
Okay.
so according to the motion we have, it would be yes, the aquatic center would be open. Doesn't need to be opened if you guys don't wanna open it, this is completely up to you what services you wanna offer.
Because this was coming back, I thought to a PTC, I haven't asked why the family day wasn't on this list. That is one that the last 2 seasons, people are asking about because it's in the winter months. The ones in the summer, like I can also see July 1st, Canada Day, and the Monday, August 1st. But in the summer months, lots of times people aren't even in town. So the family day one is one that I thought should be included on the list.
Councillor McKay?
Yeah, I was under the impression that was exactly what we were bringing this to a P&P for, is to have a formal discussion on what should be left open and whatnot. And it would have given staff a chance to come back with a proper report, but in saying that, it went too fast for me. I voted the wrong way, or we could have voted it down. So it's, but is that not what the initial P&P was for? So that we could talk exactly what we're talking about? So, I just wanted to bring that point up, and I think Councillor Scott touched on that a bit.
Okay. Councillor Howe?
And so what Councillor Kirby's talking about, she's on the tourism Action Committee, they want an answer on this sooner rather than later. And I think that's our intention, because we all know how long these drag on. When we bring it to a PPC and we decide on something, and then it's gotta go to another meeting and drag on. And if this is an option, this is the one that makes sense to me. If there's one other day to add in here, we've pretty much had the discussion right now. If we wanna add the family day in, add it in at this time as a friendly amendment, and, you know, I don't see the need to debate it anymore.
I think a quick way to resolve this is what Councillor Howe was saying, so it sounds to me that there's 2 days on consideration, one was Labor Day, one was, Family Day. So just, if someone makes, you don't need to support it, but if someone just makes an amendment to remove Labor Day, then you'll get a vote on that, you know where you stand, and if someone makes an amendment to, include Family Day, you'll get a vote on it, you know where you stand, and it's just a quick way to deal with it.
I think Family Day is the only one we've got a question on, and if, I think, somebody wants to make a friendly amendment, include Family Day, and we can just vote.
I'll make a friendly amendment to include Family Day.
Any more discussion on it? All in favor? Opposed?
Or the mayor person. So that vote, a friendly amendment is actually, you need unanimous consent of council to have the friendly amendment. So what you just voted on was, now the amendment is passed. So now what you're looking for is a vote on the amendment.
And on the motion, all in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Okay, are you finished there, Councillor?
Yeah, thank you.
Councillor Howe,
Nothing to report?
Councillor Sky.
We had a meeting on the, with Little Prairie Community Forest, on February 19th. We haven't had a meeting since then, so first chance reported. And that's a result of a follow-up meeting which took place a little bit before on January the 14th, which, person you were involved, Mr. Wall and, Forester Duncan McKellar, which we met up in Fort St. John with, the area representative and the district representative, the two provincial bodies. And at that time, we were told that we had an uplift of 35,000 cubic meters. With that information, we had a meeting with the Little Prairie Community Forest, that's the Chetwynd Community Forest, and we had a discussion between the two of us to find out what's the best way to allocate this. And we weren't really able to meet any kind of I guess a mutual agreement on how this should be split up. So it might very well have to go back to the province to decide. So that's still a work in progress. We also had another meeting with the Dust Show group of companies. That was the CAO, the Chief Operating Officer, and the VP of Business Development visited Tumble Ridge. And we discussed quite a lot of things there that were beneficial to both the groups. One of the things that came out of it was to examine the opportunities to explore the options of manufacturing wood products right here in Tumble Ridge. And depending on the markets, and the markets, they're actually selling some things that normally we wouldn't be looking at. They're finding a market for it, so we might be able to maybe export a little bit more. So we're looking forward to that. We had a council-to-council meeting, as was mentioned, with West Moberly Band, and that was a fantastic day. We had discussions based on the Urban Reserve. We had also the community forest, and this uplift thing we talked about with these two previous groups also followed right. It actually came right into this group as well, because they're actually partners in the Chetwynd Community Forest. So we had an opportunity to kind of put that forward with them too. I did want to mention too about Ms. Christie out of the EDO's office. She set up a schedule for us that was just phenomenal. Everything just went like clockwork. We had a visit over at the museum, in which the West Moberly visitors had just a fantastic time over there, and really we could have spent a lot more time over there, but they were just fascinated with it. And then also the budget and special meetings that every other councillor done the same thing. That's my report.
Dr. Scott?
Not so much to report, it's been covered, the council to have a council meeting and that. There was a old timers hockey tournament on the weekend at the community center, And one big concern are the chairs that are being used for functions in the beer gardens or even as rental chairs. They're getting quite old and dangerous. I think the last couple of years, people sit on them and fall through. So it's going to be, I think even the RCMP were commenting on the state of the chairs. So that's something we should maybe take a look at before somebody gets injured. And a reminder that we're having a Building Healthy Communities Committee meeting tomorrow at Room Community Center at 6 o'clock, and anyone is welcome.
I have nothing to report. All I have to say is I was meeting with the First Nations with West Mobility Band, and I ran into some of the stuff that you guys talked about with that's Joe and that's Cloud Lake. And I would think you should be going out to see Soto. Soto out at Jack do that's another band that we do deal with. I can't remember us having a conversation with him. So it's something that I'll be working on, seeing if I can get set up so that we can go and see them. Than that, that's it for me. That takes us to question and answer period. Yes, Casey.
I'd like to ask you questions about this travel stuff here. When I look at this, this is a forest industry conference, council tried or forestry person, and might be another counselor involved in that. Why do we have to have it so all council and mayor can go to these conferences? Like at $1,850, you're looking at like 12, 13 grand. At a time where everybody is tightening their belt. Why isn't there a bylaw in place that, like these conferences, they seem to be more and more all the time. Or in province, say, the mayor, 2 councillors, and if the CEO has to go, like 4 people, other province, 3 people, and they come back and they report to the rest of the council. Like, when you get these, like, you're looking at $13,000 to go talk to a bunch of loggers. I mean, I don't think it should be necessary for all the councils to have to go to that. If you have your portfolio with these conferences and those conferences fall within your portfolio, you should go and take the mayor as to represent the town CEO, whatever it takes. But why should everybody has to go to all these conferences all the time? I think the expenses are, you know.
I think we feel the same way you do. Councilor Scott mentioned that actually, that be for the person holding that portfolio and the mayor to go. So I think that doesn't say that there, but I think common sense around the council table knows that it's the one with the portfolio that would be going. Maybe we can change the way the wording is, that it should say that. You're right. Anybody else? Tim?
I don't really have any questions, but I have a comment and a challenge, I guess. As you know, coming up is the annual Easter egg hunt that the Lions sponsor and put on. And I'm challenging all of council to come and put their face in the pie hole there and come out and support the Lions and support, I'm not sure which group's going to be getting the funds from charge from that, but it's either to the teen center or a non-profit group. So I'm challenging you all to come out, put your face there, and put one out for the community. And that's on the 26th.
Councilor Kirby and then
Thank you, Your Worship. I have been victim to this pie throwing. I know I have, and I know Councillor Mackay and the mayor. I'm unfortunately out of town because I would take that. I would show up, you know I would, but I'm unable.
And I'm out of town too. When?
I can't think of anything.
Come on, show your community support spirit. Get out there.
So how?
Do you anticipate certain councillors or mayor to generate more money for you than others?
Hey, that would be good. And for whichever group's getting it.
Is there a limit on how hard we can throw?
Well, if you're as big as you have to be 3 feet away. Anything else you can get rid of. No. There's a line with the shed.
What is the date of that?
The 26th.
26. Well, if I can be there, I will be there.
We would love to see your face in that hole. As well as everybody else.
Okay? Welcome invitation. Tim?
That's a question regarding the off-road vehicle bylaw now that it's had final reading. Do we have a timeline as to when we will get the crossings in place and kind of finalize it for that?
I think now that we've passed the bylaw, now Public Works will go ahead and start getting that stuff together. I'm not sure if they have the signs or if they have to order them. That would be the delay, I guess. But, it'll happen as quick as I can.
Okay. The other question I had is, do you guys post the bylaw on the district website?
Should
Will it
be
be posted?
It will be, yes. Yep.
Anybody else? Bernie?
I'm thinking.
Okay.
It was just regarding what Case was talking about travel, and I know it's common practice, all the municipalities do it. But I think, not just because of the way the economy is, but I think at any time, council should be a little bit more selective in deciding where they wanna go and how many people they wanna spend, because, or how many people they wanna send, because in the end, you wanna go and hope to get something back. Because if you're going to these meetings and coming back with squat, it really serves no purpose. And I realize you're networking and that's part of the process. But make sure you're getting a decent bang for your buck. Because if it's just a waste of money to go and get nothing ever in return, then why go? You know, I'd be happy if you, instead of sending somebody to this meeting here, don't send anybody there, and then send everybody to something where you know you've got a chance to get something back. And I just think you should be a little, maybe more selective in where you do end up going and where you spend that money.
I think you're gonna answer for you.
Well, you kind of hit the nail right on the head there. Because what you're talking about is if we think we can get something out of it, it's up to us to try to tell the other councillors and the mayor that this is something that I really want to be at. Here's the reason why. I know somebody down there that has some connection to some other type of thing, and I think that's the open-ended side of this thing where if you have a real desire to go to this, prove it to the rest of the council, we'll approve your expenditure. And that's what I want. I want somebody with some heart and some desire that wants to go down to get the exact same thing that you want. And if that person steps up out of this council and says, you know, I don't have a forestry portfolio, but you know, I really want to go talk to these 3 people that are down there because it's not about forestry. I want to get a bio plant going and maybe these people will be there for it. If they can sell us on it, they should be allowed to go to those types of meetings because they're going to sell those people on it. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, I have no, there's no problem in sending more people, but then send more people to something that, like you say, you can get something back, nothing's ever guaranteed, but at least you have the opportunity to maybe get something back for this community. And that's where I'd like to see the money spent.
And I think we all agree with you. The thing is, we're sitting in the middle of a bunch of trees. We see those trucks going by every day. We want to get a piece of that. We're talking mills, stuff like that, and those are the people that you gotta talk to, so that's why we're going.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the rail line here, so you've got really, a way to get product out or a way to get product in.
And nobody knows that but us. Yeah,
Well,
so we gotta spread that around.
I think that's a problem because people should be made aware. I know, it's a tough sell, obviously, but you gotta,
If you don't start, you'll never get it.
anything and everything you gotta throw at it.
Brenda, saw your hand up?
Yes, I do.
Is there not a bylaw on travel expenses
There's a bylaw that says. that-
limiting the amount of expenses? And I believe it was part of the, I believe there was at one time.
I don't remember seeing that. I know there's a bylaw that says that all the councils gotta be able to go to UBCM, FCM, and there's a few. But,
I think there was a limit at one time, with the counselors being $10,000. And, the mayor being a little bit more, probably about 50. But,
we'll check in.
Yeah.
Councilor House.
So just back to you there, can we ask staff to, if there is a bylaw on travel expenses, that they make it available to us and just put it on our wicket to?
Or bring it up at a PMP, maybe we can discuss it.
I just assume by wicket.
Yeah, bring it here and then if we want to take it to PMP, we will.
You need a motion to that or anything, or no? Okay.
Okay. I see the, must be watching us on TV.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's it. Need a motion for adjournment?
Hold it closed.
Oh, yeah, we're going into closed. Somebody take it here, closed, Councilor Scott.
That the District of Tumble Ridge regular council meeting scheduled for February 1st, 2016 is closed. No. Okay. Because pursuant to Community Charter Provision Section 91C and G as follows. Do I need to read the whole thing out?
Just 91.
Okay, 91, a part of council meeting must, oh, good enough.
Yeah, that's good. What? Yeah. It's good? Yep. Okay. Seconder? All in favor? And we'll take a 10-minute break before we.
I didn't catch that.
Before you guys take off, you guys got a second there? Before you guys all take off, you got a second? So,
We're still recording.
And it should be marked.
Yeah.
Really confusing. I'm a little foggy to do so.